So you want your photos and videos to look more cinematic. You want to get better results, but you don't know what lenses to buy. Well, today we're going to be talking about my top 3 lenses for photo and video so you can get those cinematic results that you want. Let's talk about it. So first lens on the list is the RF 15 to 35 millimeters. And the reason for it is because it is ultra wide at 15 millimeters, which is great for tight spaces. Obviously, this right here is not a tight space, but it's also incredible whenever it comes to landscapes because it shows you just how massive everything is. Not only that, but this lens is also ideal for vlogging. So if you're wanting to hold the camera directly in front of you, this is the lens that is actually going to allow that. Which, by the way, the lens does have image stabilization. So it also helps with removing some of those jitters whenever you are vlogging, which is really, really nice. Or if you're wanting just to even get some handheld footage for B-roll, it's gonna help smooth things out. And probably the last thing is that this lens stops all the way down to f2.8, which is really nice because it's gonna let more light in and also kind of give you a blurry background if you push it to 35 millimeters and get kind of an up-close shot. The next lens on the list is the workhorse. Literally, it's called the workhorse. All right, I'm joking. It's actually the RF 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 lens. And the reason we call it the workhorse is because it is very versatile. So you could shoot at 24 millimeters, which is extremely wide, get some establishing shots. Or you could shoot at 50 millimeters, which is what I'm on right now, to kind of get like those natural portrait feeling type of looks. And of course, you can also go all the way to 70 millimeters, which is telephoto at this point, and get some really, really nice portraits. Ideally, this lens is honestly probably glued to my camera, I want to say, at least 90% of the time, and it's so perfect when it comes to filming weddings or photographing weddings. It really can be used just for about anything. On top of that, it has an aperture as well of f2.8. So if you go all the way to 70 millimeters, you're gonna get some nice looking bokeh, AKA some background blur. It is expensive, but it's totally worth it. The final lens is the Telephoto Beast. And yes, that is the name for the RF 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8 lens. The reason why this is so good is because of compression and the range. Now, what do I mean by compression? Basically, it's bringing in all the elements in the background a lot closer. So this landscape that you're seeing, it's appearing to be much larger with this lens, which means it's also really, really good for portraits. And honestly, some of my favorite portraits have actually come from this lens. It's one that's hard to not put on my camera body whenever I have a portrait photo shoot because it does so good and it's so sharp. Background is so blurry, and again, just that compression where it's bringing in those distant elements a lot closer. Chef's kiss. So who is this lens for? You could use it for wildlife, you could use it for sports, you could use it for portraits. It's actually a very solid lens for all of that, including landscapes. I feel like I've actually gotten some of my best landscapes with this lens as well. Plus, because of the range, it does allow you to kind of stay on the sidelines and be super discreet. So you don't have to be super up close and personal to a lot of people. In fact, right now I'm shooting this at 70 millimeters. It goes all the way to 200 millimeters, but this is 70, and I feel like I'm so far away from my camera, which is a little scary, by the way. I'll pull out my phone and record this just to show you how far it is. All right, there it is. Can I keep zooming in? Bam. There's my camera. Just how far away I am. I did also forget to mention that this RF 70 to 200 millimeter is actually a lot shorter and stubbier compared to the older models. And the reason for that is because the prior models, whenever you zoom in, it's already fully extended out. It's just zooming in internally, versus this is kind of more like a barrel type of zoom, right? Where it's gonna extend out, which personally some people like and some people don't. I am actually a huge fan of it because the smaller it is at 70 millimeters means that I can fit it into my backpack. It's easy to pack. So the conclusion is if you buy all of these lenses, you've essentially built the Holy Trinity set, because you're covering from 15 to 35 millimeters, from 24 to 70, now from 70 to 200 millimeter lens. You're literally covering all of the focal ranges. You have an aperture of f2.8. At this point, if you can buy these lenses, you're pretty much going to be unstoppable. And this is filmed at 200 millimeters, by the way, pretty crazy, super far.